Hello there guys, Aaron Janner here for Forever Football, your Doncaster Rovers content. This is your match review. Swindon 1, Donny 2. Really happy with that performance. Second half was a bit nitty gritty, especially in the last 20, but apart from that, overall, I would be happy with that. We were dominant for the first half, continued that dominance in the second half. Little spells where Swindon could have grabbed the game. The set-piece goal, of course, was unfortunate to concede, especially for Balcom. He almost grabbed it, but we couldn't really blame Balcom for that set-piece goal, I think that overall, he had his hands to it, but it just slipped out of his it just slipped away from him, so you couldn't really blame anyone for that one. It was just a good set-piece goal from Swindon. Little deflection, taking the keeper by surprise, and, despite the double reaction save in the FA Cup from Balcom last week, you couldn't even, no goalkeeper would have seen that reaction coming after the leg deflection in for the goal for Swindon. But overall, happy with that performance. Fejiri Okenabirhie, what a signing that guy is. 12-18 months ago we signed him now. From Shrewsbury, what a pick he's got. Now, I saw the article about the Ben Whiteman exit. We saw the stuff about, the Marquise replacement, the fact that, it wasn't, then and there in terms of replacements. And in my opinion, Fejiri Okenabirhie was the eventual replacement for John Marquise, 110%. But you know what? It said in the article he was the eventual replacement. I personally think he's our Marcus Rashford. Now, you saw the title of the old the last Swindon victory was Rhys James for the new Cafu. This one is Fejiri is the new Rashford, because he is like a Marcus Rashford in our team. He's better as a winger than a striker, and I think that overall Fejiri Okenabirhie really provided that quality today in the attack, especially in the first half. When John Jules came off and we put him to striker, we needed to. There wasn't really much seen from him when he was moved to striker. Hopefully, it is good with John Jules. Hopefully, it's not too bad of an injury to John Jules. Wright not involved in the team today, which is a bit of a surprise. But overall, I think some of us would have been interested to see exactly, what would have been from that. But overall, I'm happy with that result. I think overall we were dominant, we were gathering the game. Swindon tried to get back into it, but the defence again. Jesus Louise. Cameron John wasn't the best today, but I tell you something now. Halliday, Butler, Captain Tom Anderson, 110% the best defenders on the field today. And Rhys James, especially in the second half, came alive and really put himself about in the midfield and came back into it. So overall, I couldn't fault the performance today. I think it was a decent performance. Looking at it from an overall perspective then, in terms of form-wise, this is going to put us in a properly good position to face West Ham next week. 110%, this is going to put us in a good position. And overall, I could see us getting a result against West Ham. People are going to comment saying I'm absolutely mad. But I think we're going to get a result against West Ham. Before we move on and look at player ratings, let's have a look at people's reactions on social media as I'm recording this. So overall, people are saying things like get in with 3 more points, onwards and upwards. Last time, Doncaster Rovers won 3 league away matches on the spin was the 12th of January 2013 when David Cameron was Prime Minister and James Arthur was top of the UK charts with Impossible when he won the X Factor. Trust me, this win wasn't impossible and we are top of the political ladder of football with that result. Other comments here. Someone actually put get in, just wish the board could see how much a few signings would mean where this team could go. What more do we want from the board? What more do we want from this board? What more do we want from the people in charge of this club? They're trying their best. They're trying their best to back the manager, and we've just got to 110% back the manager with the board's money. And the board are backing him as much as possible. What more do people want? I know we need some contracts. I know we need some new signings. But hopefully we do that in the next 7 days before we face West Ham on the Saturday next week. But I'm confident. In Moore we trust. I completely back the manager. In Darren we trust. I back the manager 110%. Other reactions, get in, on to the next one. Quality win, difficult second half. That's the big thing to take from this. Very difficult second half, very grab and go. Last 20, holding our own, didn't get out of second gear, but we held on with a brilliant defence, and that was our tactic from the off, I think, in my opinion. So Swindon didn't really look like threatening us before the last 20 in the second half. So overall, apart from that goal, I think Swindon could come out of this and take some positives. But overall, I think they need to be getting themselves prepared, ready for their next game. Other things here, seeing Tom Anderson absolutely buzzing over that double tackle from Taylor whilst wearing the captain's armband is what I live for. That was a good moment. That was a really good moment. Tom Anderson as the captain, honestly, we've had some bright moments with Ben Whiteman as captain of this club, but Tom Anderson as captain could take us that next step further. So I'm looking ahead at this club, onwards and upwards. Couple more reactions here. Grinding out the last 20. Defence has been really key in that and helping us grind us out. There's a few things about Greaves and other players as well. Someone said another great win, got some battlers. We have great to see AJ Greaves get some decent minutes under his belt as well. Hopefully kicks on and we get his contract tied down. I think he'd be really good. Turning to Tuesday, there's now some real selection issues if John Jules has done his hamstring plus James' suspension. Smith and Taylor will have to come in and start. Behind the starters, we have very little depth indeed. Hopefully, we do get some signings in. I thought the Rochdale match was actually moved to a different day, but I guess not. So it looks like it is going to be Tuesday, the next game, which is going to be interesting. But fingers crossed, we have an overall decent game on Tuesday against Rochdale. They put a good performance in against Wigan to make it 3-3, so maybe they're there for the taking. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a good game there. A couple of other things. Someone did the diagnostics of the game. Offensive fludicity, defensive calamity, and a hefty slice of farce. Smattering of individual quality on the Swindon's. This is all from the Swindon's point of view. That was their Swindon point of view. Into the empty net says man of the match, Fejiri Okenabirhie. Lose the top scorer. There's a new top scorer straight away. Whatever anyone says about Donny Rovers, Darren Moore is doing a terrific job, and we may be low on numbers, but we are high on spirit. That is what we're talking about. That's the truth. We're high on spirit, and people can complain all they want about the club, but there we are. And someone says, take me up and away. Let's go through player ratings then. So let's go through the squad. Balcom, I'm going to give a 7. I think overall, Balcom, I'm going to give a 7. Apart from the set-piece goal, which you couldn't really do much about, it was solid in the nets again. Really did well. I'm tempted to push it up to an 8, but I think because of the goal, even though it wasn't his fault, I think the goal kind of brings the overall thing down a bit. But overall, he was just so commanding, did really well. Distribution was better as well. His distribution from outside the box was better than Blackburn, and he's really growing as a goalkeeper. It's like having Sonny Dieng in nets. It's brilliant. Next up, defence. We'll go from right back to left back. So we're going to go with Halliday first. I'm going to go with a 7 for him as well. I think overall, Halliday did really well in the right back position. He's back in his usual position. Defensively, attacking, really good. And I think that overall he'll be good, ready for Rochdale on Tuesday and also West Ham on Saturday. Anderson next up. I'm going to give him the same as Andy Butler. I'm going to give Captain Tom an 8, and Andy Butler gets an 8 as well. Both the defenders did really well. Defensively, commanded themselves brilliantly. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be continued on through the West Ham game. Left back, Cameron John. I'm going to give him a 6. I think that overall, I think that he... I don't know what it is. I think the physicality from him, especially in the first half, was great. But... there was a couple of times where he still gave the ball away, and I think there's the little mistakes like that are going to cost us against big teams like West Ham on Saturday next week. So, John needs to either be on the bench as a centre-back replacement for the second half, or he needs to, just step out of left-back and just let James go back in that position. But overall, I'd say that was just an okay performance. Nothing too special, but okay. But no one gets below a 6 today. No one gets below a 6. Let's go with Rhys James. He gets an 8 from me. He was brilliant, especially in the second half. He really improved in that midfield. Physical-wise, defending-wise, played some really good balls, assisted the first Okenabirhie goal, and overall just improved from then on out. So I'm going to give him an 8. I'm pushing for a 9 from him, but I'm going to go with a very high 8. Richards gets a 7. I think that overall in the deep midfield position, I think his physicality is wonderful, but I think attacking wise, he needs the more space to run into. So I think that if we could play with Richards as a sort of deep and attacking midfielder in the same time and alternate between the roles with another midfielder and have Simios as the cam, so we've got 2 cams when we attack and 1 cam when we're defending, I think that would be a great way to utilise Richard's physicality and his attacking prowess in the right way. Talking of Simios, he gets a 7 as well. I think he's done really well in that cam position. Better than the Blackburn game when he was playing on the wing. I think he did better in cam, to be honest. So if Richards is going to play like a deep attacking cam and centre midfield role swap kind of rotational way, like I just said, I'd like to see Simios as that attacking partner in the attacking third, and then in the defensive part, Richards drops back with the midfield partner, and Simios plays as a cam on his own. So I'd like to see that to be the case. And in terms of Simios' performance, I think overall he was very good. Great attacking intent, great attacking awareness. Overall, couldn't wish for anything more. And next up, the wingers. Lakilo gets a 7. I'd get a 7. I'd give him a 7. Into the Empty Net gave him a 7. I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I think overall, I was tempted to give him a 6 though. I think overall, he put himself about a bit, which is great. He was involved in the set piece, which is wonderful. But I think overall, he just needs just that little bit more football intelligence. But in my opinion, I couldn't find much faults with him. I think there's a few things he did wrong, but not too many things compared to other players. So I think overall, just a decent performance. Okenabirhie gets the only 9 of today. 110% Okenabirhie gets a 9. Man of the match. Comment down below if you think Fejiri Okenabirhie is man of the match. Shrewsbury player, came into the club and he's proved exactly his worth, but he's not a forward, he's not a striker. Where he's playing at the minute, on the wing, is his best position. He's our Marcus Rashford. 110% our Marcus Rashford. So keep playing Okenabirhie on the wing, don't put him up front. Bring in a new striker if John Jules is injured now, and we need... we don't. If we play Okenabirhie up front, play him in a way that suits his style of forward play, so we can keep making him versatile as a player. Finally, John Jules, I'll give him a 6 as well. Didn't offer much goal-wise, but attacking-wise, he was still up there at least. So he was still trying to put himself about a bit in the attacking third, but didn't really come off with anything. The 4 substitutions then, Smith and Amos get 6s. Didn't really do much, but was still involved in some way. And Greaves and Taylor get 7s for me. John Taylor was great, came on, immediate presence in the attacking third. AJ Greaves in the midfield. Jesus Christ, if there's one player I didn't think I'd be saying time down to a new contract, it would be AJ Greaves. But you know what, after that performance, he can offer us something if we need it as a squad rotation player. Keep him on the new contract. He's one of the ones I want to see on a new contract. So there we go. So who do we have? Woohoo! Who do we have next? We have Rochdale on Tuesday. If that doesn't get rescheduled for FA Cup action, then we are on Saturday against West Ham United at the London Stadium. That is the big fixture. First meeting with West Ham since 2012 in the Championship. First ever FA Cup meeting between the two teams. And also the first ever match involving Doncaster Rovers with video assistant referee, VAR. It's our first VAR match, so we have to take that into account. We have to play the way that they play. We have to play to our standards. We need to keep pressing, keep attacking. I'll do all this in the West Ham preview on the Friday as well. But overall, we just need to show that attacking intent right from the off. Make West Ham beg, plead for mercy, and make them work on the ball. So that's all I'd say, really. So the final result then, Swindon 1, Doncaster 2. The live watch-along that we saw, thank you to everyone who was staying tuned during the watch-along, but those of you who are watching the watch-along, make sure you go and watch that back when the full version comes out in a day or two time. But for now, guys, thank you very, very much. I'm Aaron Chalner from Forever Football, and that, my friends, is full time. Rovers till I die. Rovers till I die!